Hey Hustlers! Welcome to another episode of RRH, Raw Reality of a Hustler. I'm Donna.
And I'm Erica.
If you're new here, what we do is we showcase local business owners, up-and-coming artists, and career professionals in hopes of inspiring, sharing knowledge, and ultimately giving them exposure. Today, we are here with onthegoLA. I have Gabriel and Enrique with us, the CEOs and founders of onthegoLA. Hey guys, how are you guys doing today?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Thank you for being here today. Can you guys talk a little bit about onthegoLA, just an overview of what it is and what inspired you to come up with this idea?
Yeah, so onthegoLA basically is a short-term food truck rental service. So basically we provide, local chefs, pop-ups, catering companies, the chance to hop on a truck and really kind of formalize your business and really take that next step. It really kind of, we started this, we're probably like a year in now. So it's, we started it kind of as just an idea, right? That, we saw a lot of local chefs and a lot of restaurants really from our neighborhood in LA just closing down. And we wanted to kind of, find a creative way to kind of jump into action and try to help them in any way we could. So that's really where it stemmed from a year ago. And now we're here today. We've been able to help more than 70, local chefs, pop-ups, catering companies, which has been awesome. Just kind of see the impact of kind of the service that we're providing them. So yes, that's where we are today.
Awesome.
Well, you kind of touched on it, and I know reading on your website, this was because of the pandemic, during the pandemic. But did you guys have any idea prior to this, like, oh, we want to do something in food, or did it really just, how did it really come about? Just one day you're like, that?
Yeah, I think so. Neither of us have any food or food truck industry experience at all.
Okay.
And so this was kind of out of left field, really. But it was really started, like I mentioned, last year during the pandemic. We had some extra time on our hands and wanted to kind of do something kind of creative, a little different. Spend our time kind of more, effectively trying to make a difference in our community. And then it kind of started with a meme that I saw on Instagram, and it read something along the lines of like, "Dear taco trucks, why don't you consider roaming the neighborhoods like ice cream trucks?" And so it started off as this from this meme, and then I kind of called Enrique, and I was like, "Hey, like, why don't we try this out? I don't think anyone's tried it out, right?" So we were able to kind of convince a local restaurant from downtown LA. Called Tirsa's, to hop on our truck, kind of test out this concept. And so basically, we hopped them on the truck. They were cooking tacos and their Mexican food, and we went roaming around literally block by block, an ice cream truck. And we did it. We probably did it for 3 weeks or so.
Yeah.
And, we tried to adjust as we went. The first day was a little rough, but we were learning as we went. But after a while, it really we realized that I think we could provide more value just as a rental service as opposed to including the roaming aspect, right?
Yeah.
The roaming aspect really added a whole nother layer to it that we were a small team, probably 4 of us. So we couldn't sustain it. It was just hard you had to plan the routes, map them out, make sure people didn't know that we were selling tacos or food. They were how do you convince the people to come out of their house and buy Mexican food when they're used to just being ice cream? So they would come up to us and be like, "Oh, do you guys have ice cream?" Well, actually, we're selling food. So it was that's how it really started, and we learned from that. We pivoted quickly, and kind of that's how we are. Where we are today, right? Had to switch up the concept a little bit, but we're able to help more businesses this way. So
I love the fact that you guys had no experience in food and had the courage to jump into it from the start. And you mentioned you've helped about 70 local chefs. Are these businesses that you knew before, people you're going, or are they more startups, or
I guess who is your business catered to?
Yeah, so I think we had no relationship with any of these like local vendors, right? Since we had no experience, so it was like a huge learning curve just to get to know more about the food truck industry. And then in terms of the persona, they're mostly like startups, pop-ups, local chefs.
Okay.
Initially it was restaurants. We had the idea of like, oh, let's cater to to these top brand restaurants in LA, local restaurants.
Yeah.
But they saw us more as a detriment, right? As another barrier, as another hassle within their business, because like you need more people, you need to hire more people to hop on the truck and drive it, right, and cook and so forth. And so we started talking to more pop-ups. Unfortunately, they were affected tremendously by the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
They had their tents, restrictions, they couldn't do that. And then from there, it was all Instagram messages, even visiting them, finding them, just talking to them and convincing them to hop on board, right? And once we were able to fix, the concept of like, we just do stationary stops, right? Stops, and then they could just hop on and rent the truck as many days as they want. It made sense for them. So.
Okay, so going on your website,
Sure.
It tells us that you offer an optimized scheduling, location, and marketing to these small businesses and to guarantee their success. Mm-hmm. Can you walk us through that process and what that entails and how you go about guaranteeing somebody's success?
Yeah, so in terms of guaranteeing success, right, based on those stops that we recommend, that just comes off of experience of previous clients to hop on board. And so it's more of a collaboration. So most of our clients already have an idea of where they want to take the truck. Mm-hmm. And so if they see success there, well, clearly we get that information and we just pass on those stops over to future clients, right? And then on top of that, we also work with breweries. And so we can have the truck at different breweries within LA. That way you could generate some consistent sales, right? It's harder to be on the street when you only started your food concept for only a couple months or so, right? Might as well start at a brewery. People are going to come out there, drink beer, be established.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's the guarantee stops there. Like you mentioned, right? We provide marketing. Right? We like to highlight our clients on Instagram, Facebook, stories, posts. Just another way to help them, spread the word about their food. And then I think, the bigger we get in terms of like followers, in terms of getting more content out there, the better for them, right? It's a win-win situation there.
Yeah. So you mentioned a couple things. Is there anything else that you offer your customers? That comes with the experience of renting a truck?
We provide a full service. What I mean by that is essentially we get the truck ready for you, right? We just want our clients to pick up the truck at the commissary where the trucks are parked and drive it. And we just turn on all the pilots and the appliances, meaning like the grill table, steam table, and put ice on the truck, right? They pay for that add-on. And we just get the truck ready for them, give them a walkthrough of how the truck works, since most of our clients have no experience driving a food truck or even using one. So we just educate them, right? And, and then from there, if they want to get their own truck, we kind of help them out with that as well.
I think that's really like, we've been so focused in the short-term rental space, right? And that was kind of our bread and butter, right? Like for the most part, like I guess in the food truck scene, at least in LA, there hasn't really been a company that has taken advantage of that short-term rental space. So that's where we saw the gap, right? Wanted to jump in and provide the opportunity. And I think now as we go and we're helping a lot of these businesses kind of build their consistency, we do want to eventually kind of not only be in the short-term space, but also the long-term space to be able to help them get their long-term rentals and things like that. So we're really trying to capitalize on the whole stream. So.
Okay, next question. So the team consists of you two. On your website, it says there's a few other people that are on the team. We were kind of intrigued we knew that this is, a year in the making, the company, and you were already able to recruit more people. What was the process of that, and how soon were you able to do that, and what are their roles?
Yeah, we knew right off the bat that we needed people to help us out, even with the whole the inception of the idea. we had like a team of 5 or 6 just building out the whole concept itself. And then we did like a hackathon. I think that's how you call it, hackathon. And then with those individuals, we were able to get 3rd place, right? So from there, once we were able to formalize the plan a little bit more, we felt like, all right, well, we need someone who does the sales, calling clients, right, leads, getting them the book, right, getting someone to be on the ground, getting the truck ready, and so forth. So, we have limited resources, but it's more about us providing the value and telling these individuals, like, hey, like, you're going to be part of this, of something special, right? With all the momentum we've gotten, right? Like 10 years from now, 5 years from now, you could say like I was one of the 4, one of the top
pioneers.
pioneers, exactly, pioneers of this company, right?
Yeah.
And its growth. And so at this point, our team is mostly interns, right? And we don't pay them consistently like that, but we do pay them whenever we get a big grant and so forth. But it's all about their commitment, their motivation to helping a company, which we're also consider a social enterprise, right? We're helping the community out tremendously, and they believe in that too. So we've done our best, just telling them like, hey, stick with us, be patient, and once we get the goal to get some sort of investment, of course you'll get paid.
We want people that are kind of invested, right? Invested in the company, that see the vision, that are excited about working on something like we are, right? So it's mostly kind of been word of mouth. Kind of we added a couple people early on where we kind of just posted on our social media, right? And then just wanted to see kind of that genuine interest, right? So we knew we needed to get a website built, right? So we brought on an intern to help us out with that. He's still with us. He's helping us tremendously, and just kind of like, it's not like we can bring someone on for maybe a specific project or specific section of the company, but we are a startup, right? So you can wear different hats. So if you start off doing like web development, and then you can help us out with the marketing or help us out with operations, like whatever it is, right? It's like we're all wearing different hats. So there's the opportunity to kind of get your feet wet in different areas that you may want to jump into, right? So we want to provide that opportunity for them as best as we can, and just make it as valuable for them as possible. So
that's awesome. You're lucky, because I feel like, especially when you're not getting paid, I feel like someone really has to love and be excited and to want to do that work and put time into it. So the fact that you guys are able to find people that really, I think what you guys are doing is, I think the fact that's very unique, because honestly, you guys are the first people that I've met doing this in the rental space. So I think that initially off the bat intrigues people,
right,
and makes it easier. So as long as you have something unique, I think it's easier for people to want to jump on, volunteer their time to do it, and see that long-term vision. So let's get back to the trucks. I think you guys mentioned you started off with 1. So how many do you have now, and how is that process like?
It was a long process, just starting off with the first truck. And right now we have 2 trucks, right? Really, really nice trucks, with solar panels on top, right? Automated, refrigeration. Modern food truck. Yeah, it's a modern food truck, but we didn't start that way. We didn't start that way at all. We started with like a 1987 food truck.
Really?
Yeah. When we were doing the roaming part, man, like there's pictures of that truck, onthegoLA decals. But that truck gave us problems, and in retrospect, it was such a great way for us to learn, like more about the truck itself. For me at least, that truck was bound to like fail. We'll still hop on board, right? But like because of that, we have a better sense of like what to look for in the truck, and what to provide, to our clients. What do you need? So now we decided to invest a little more money in getting in like these really, really top food trucks, right? Modern food trucks. That way our clients feel comfortable with that.
I think also like that first truck that we got was we were just testing out this concept, right? So like we wanted to stand something up quickly, and then we realized how hard it was to like get our hands on like a truck, right? Like we had to go like on Craigslist or something. It was pretty hard to find one that we liked. But I think kind of where we are now is God, I forgot my train of thought. Wow, I was going somewhere with that.
No, I mean, like I think he was saying that the process of finding a food truck right now is pretty hard, right? The demand is pretty high for a food truck, right? Because of the pandemic, right? A lot of people want a food truck, and so prices have gone up. And so for us, even during the pandemic, it was hard for us to find a food truck, right? Since we want to establish something right off the bat, and that's something that we've realized, like, hey, if we get into the space, how can we make it easier for people to rent food trucks, right? And that's why we have daily rentals there.
Yeah, I think also like with like the truck that we got, like we specifically wanted it to like stand out, right? Because there's so many different food trucks, right?
Yeah.
And ours is like, I guess over the past year, people come to know it as like the big blue truck, right? Because it's like very like I guess bright blue, and so it's like people when they see like a bright blue truck, they're like, oh, it's got to be like an onthegoLA truck. That's been pretty cool to kind of see. It also helps our clients really kind of get more customers, right? Because like
they know their startups.
Yeah, exactly. So it's been kind of cool to see that too, and seeing that, I guess people like matching, pairing two and two. So
yeah. Have you guys run into any issues of there's so much demand for your truck that there's no availability, and I guess how do you guys handle that?
Yeah, I think it was like the first couple months. We kicked off June 2020 officially. And like I said, the first month or so was kind of with a roaming concept. But then after we started establishing ourselves as a short-term, rental service, towards the end of last year, kind of beginning this year, we saw like the demand ramp up. And so, we also at the same time, we were trying to kind of not get ahead of ourselves, right? We wanted to kind of really, it's like kind of more controlled growth, because if we got to the point where it was just like we couldn't handle it, it wouldn't be good for the business, and our customer service would really kind of fall through the cracks. So we've really been kind of more like a little bit more aware of how we take the next step, and so it took us a while to add that second truck, right? We wanted to make sure the timing was right. But I think now we're at a spot where we are considering getting a third truck, right? Just kind of seeing the demand kind of grow, and we recently also introduced kind of 7 and 10 day plans, really, because we started off as just short-term rentals or like daily rentals, right? Kind of more rent a day here, rent a day there. But we wanted to kind of provide more of that, I guess, consistency to the clients that were hopping on our truck. And so, we offer 7 and 10 day plans at like a lower rate for them to kind of drive that consistency per day. Yeah. So, it's proven that it's something that clients really are appreciative of, right? Because they want to kind of keep using the truck, right? So, now we're seeing those kind of gain more popularity, and in doing that, we're going to be able to add more trucks, right? So we kind of, it depends on the demand, right, where we feel it's right to kind of introduce the truck, because we don't just want it sitting on the lot, right? So we want it to be in use, and so that's why we're carefully kind of taking the next step.
I mean, as far as demand right now, I mean, a lot of demand, like for the weekends, for example, right? Weekends are prime days.
So considering the customer point of view, the question of renting versus owning your own truck, how do you guys kind of market that question? If you have customers that ask you, well, it's probably better for me to buy my own truck. I mean, we obviously know it's more expensive to buy your own truck. But how do you
convince them?
To use onthegoLA, essentially. I mean, within the whole rental space, there's different options, right? You do the dailies with us, or you do the 6-month or 1-year rental from a food truck owner, and then, like you said, you buy a truck, right? So buying a truck, that's probably the top of the top responsibilities like you could do in the food truck industry, right? You finance it, you pay it monthly, but on top of that, you're responsible for the mechanics, maintenance, right? Putting gas, propane on it every single day. You don't have anyone, you don't have someone from our team to do that for you, right? And then you have to drive a truck, and it just involves a lot more hours. So it's all about being efficient with your time and your effort, and your energy. And then when it comes to the long-term rentals, right, leasing rentals, same thing, right? More money involved, right? You're probably looking up to 10 to 15K startup costs, right, to rent a truck for 6 months to a year. And that's, I mean, no one has that kind of money, right? Especially in the food industry, unless you're like a top brand, right? And so, and then with us, you just gotta pay $299 a day, right? Or $270, $250 depending on the plan, and that's it. So, yeah, we actually stand out so much from like in terms of saving money, right? Being cost efficient. Okay.
Have you guys seen much competition in your space?
Yeah, I think.
Or others like you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think for the there was there's been a couple companies or kind of startups or people that wanted to jump into the short-term rental space. But it's kind of, we're not really, I guess, afraid of the competition, I guess, because it's one thing is to have the idea, like we introduced it, but the execution of short-term rentals is actually very hard. Just because like there's so much that goes into it, right? Like there's a quick turnaround. The next day is probably a different client. You have to get the truck ready for them, So it's like it's harder. It's easier said than done, right? So it's like really hard to execute, and so we pride ourselves on having established these processes, right, on the ground to get where we are today, where it's a lot more streamlined, a lot easier, right, for our clients to come in and out, and for us to handle that. So I think we welcome kind of the competition, and we as as a company, we want to grow, right, want to go into the long-term rental space, right, or just different things, right, kind of maybe starting to introduce technology into the space, right, things like that. So we're always looking to innovate. We're not going to be, I guess, stuck in this one place. So we want to kind of take the next step, but there's been competition, but like I said, we're welcoming it as it comes. So
well, you kind of touched on different things, processes being hard. Can you talk just a little bit of an overview of things that you had to do maybe at the beginning in regards to legal processes, any permits you had to acquire?
Yeah, we definitely had to use our networks, right, just to talk to people in the food space, kind of like pick their
to learn
more about what we need to do, right?
Yeah.
Like what kind of permits does the food truck need? What kind of permits do we need, right?
Yeah.
As owners, right? And so we just had multiple conversations there, and then just bringing up the idea, and then just getting feedback from those individuals, right? And then from there, we were able to, based on that feedback, we were able to present like requirements for our clients, right? You need a food handler's card. You need to have a selfish LLC, right? Make sure you have a driver's license to drive the truck, right? But like, just because of those conversations, we were just able to, streamline that process and be able to tell people, all right, this is what you need, this is what you have to do, and so forth. But legally speaking, it seems complicated, but it's not, right? Just make sure the truck has the required permits in LA County or whichever county you want to take it to, and then make sure you have your food handler's card and then your driver's license, and that's about it. Yeah.
That's good. Seems overwhelming, I feel, for someone who doesn't know at first.
No, yeah.
I think in the first couple of weeks when we were just kind of toying around with the idea, it was like we just didn't even know where to start, really. Like, who do we talk to? Like the city, other food truck companies that already exist, but they're not really doing short-term rentals, and so it was hard to kind of get the information that we needed, but we were just so persistent, right, trying to get it started. That we eventually landed on the information that we got, right? But it really did take us a while. It wasn't easy to, kind of get it started. But we're glad that we got the information and we're able to kind of relay it to our clients, right? Make it easier for them. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming to get started in the food truck industry, just the food industry in general. So
I guess that's another benefit we're looking to give you all the details on permitting.
Exactly.
All right, we're actually gonna wrap this up here. Can you guys just touch on, for our viewers who might be interested in renting one of your trucks, what are the costs or just the range of costs and how to find you guys?
Sure. Yeah, so find us on our website, right, onthegoLA, right, and then you can actually book the truck on our website. There's a book now tab. You can fill out all the basic information, and then the calendar pops up on the second page. You can just literally click and pick and choose the available dates, right? Yeah. And then from there, put down your security deposit per day, which is $150, and that's how you officially reserve those days. And then you submit the form, and then you get some next steps with a welcome email. And so it's pretty simple, right? And then from there, we're communicating with them right before their day on board, answering any questions they may have, and then maybe do a tour of the truck. Give them a walkthrough, and then once we get to their day on board, we have someone like myself or someone from our team show up and then give them another walkthrough, right? Make sure they feel comfortable. And yeah, that's us. Yeah, and then in terms of prices, like you said, $299 for 1 day, and then our 7 and 10 day plans is $270 and $250 respectively per day. And so the more days you book, of course, the lower the daily rental fee. But yeah, that's us. Yeah.
And we'll have their website and all their information down below as well.
Sounds good.
So I know you guys touched on the future, moving on to longer term rentals. Is there anything else that we can expect from onthegoLA in the future?
Yeah, I think that's really kind of the biggest thing, right? Kind of establishing that long-term rental, I guess, space for our company. But in addition to that, we really want to just provide, I guess, the best overall customer experience, right? And with that comes, helping our clients really, pick out the best locations based on their cuisine, right? Based on the time of day, based on the city, based on, so many different factors that go into it. So we really want to build out, some sort of technology, really data-driven, that is going to really help our clients or just people in the food truck space, right? Choose their best spots for the day. Like location for food trucks is like the biggest priority.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
Because you get to move around, so you get the liberty to kind of move to different spots. So it's so important that we really want to provide the optimal, experience for each client, each business, depending on their cuisine, kind of what they're looking for, right? So keep an eye out on that. That's kind of something that we have coming in the pipeline as well.
So to end it, any last advice? I don't know if both of you want to give some, but for anyone out there that wants to start something.
Sure. Yeah, so I think definitely don't be afraid, right, of just making that first step. Like if you have an idea in your mind, just go ahead and just write it down, right? And then from there, think about the next steps. And just be persistent, like Gabriel mentioned before, that you have to be persistent, make sure that you're fully confident in yourself, right? And sometimes you may have your ups and downs, right? That's the life of an entrepreneur, those peaks and valleys. But at the end of the day, you always have to consider those long-term goals, right? Remind yourself of those long-term goals, right? It's all about the mentality, right? And once you have the right mentality, you'll find the right people, and those people will help you achieve those long-term goals, right? And it kind of contributes to that culture that you definitely want to set that foundation.
Yeah, I think like Enrique said, just, definitely. I think it's so many people have so many ideas, right? But executing on them and actually putting them in a effect is what separates kind of the entrepreneurs, right? You really want to jump in. You can talk about an idea all you want, but really executing, taking that next step. Yeah, it may be scary, but it'll pay off, right? If you're really about it, then you're gonna follow through. So definitely encourage people to really just go for it, right? And then you're gonna learn, right? There's gonna be a learning curve. You're gonna learn as you go, especially early on. We learned so much. We're still learning, day by day. So I think just taking that plunge and really not being afraid to fail, right? Learn from your mistakes and then move on. So I think that would be my advice.
Yeah, and if you fail with your business and with your idea, there's always new ideas, right?
Yeah.
And like Gabriel said, it's okay to fail. It's a learning lesson.
Yeah.
Right. And if you fail with your first startup, now you know what to do, what not to do, and now apply it for this other idea you may have.
Exactly.
Right.
Stepping stone.
Yeah, because that's how life is, right?
Yeah.
You always have to take these leap of faiths, and then whatever happens, whether good or bad, there's just learning lessons, and they're going to help you develop, right, professionally and personally. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, you guys gave us so much information. So thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for letting us come in here and just sharing everything with the viewers. And for what you're doing for the community.
Yeah, thank you. No, thank you for for inviting us, right, to your podcast. We're definitely, humbled and privileged, right, to talk to you about our idea, about our company, and we're not going anywhere.
You're not.
Yeah.
So if you guys see a big blue truck, you know who it is now. And if you have any food business, I feel like a lot of people do, and you want to try it out, then you know where to find them. We are, as Donna mentioned, going to link all the information down below in the description. And of course, you can always reach out to us or to them if you have any questions. But thank you guys.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We'll see you in the next one.